An 1827 survey of the farm that stretched along what is now Port Washington Boulevard, about as far as Salem Road, indicates there was a school in the south corner of the property in a section called Flower Hill. Said to have been built in 1757, the Little Flower Hill School was Port's very first school. The Little Red School, built in 1848 on the north corner of Pleasant Avenue and Mill Pond Road, was also referred to as the Schoolhouse of Cow Bay, School Number 5, and the Down Neck School. In all, there were 3 Sands Point schools, the first 2 of which are referred to as the Old Sands Point School. Old Sands Point School Number 1 was built in 1864 on Schoolhouse Hill. It was later converted to a private home, and in the early 1900s moved across the street, where it still stands at number 12, School Street. In about 1869, another school was built nearby Port's first school. It started out with 2 rooms and was called interchangeably the Flower Hill School, School Number 4, or the Up Neck School. The school burned down one sunny June day during the summer vacation of 1924, while the school's custodian, Mr. Allen, was engaged in cleaning old-fashioned toilets using kerosene. Final disposition of the property was to convert it into what is now Port Washington Police Headquarters at 500 Port Washington Boulevard. The first Sands Point School, built in 1864, was soon closed in 1870, and in that same year, the second Sands Point School was built directly across the street. Both were built up on Schoolhouse Hill on what is today known as School Street. Both were known as the Down Neckers School. For 60 years, the second Sands Point School served some 6 generations of students, most of whom climbed a direct route up from Harbor Road using a path of natural steps made by the roots of locust trees. Prior to 1907, there were 2 school districts in the incorporated village of Port Washington, numbers 4 and 5, with 1 grade school in each section of the village. Palmer Jones, principal of number 5 before consolidation, used to tell of the battles of Baxter Bridge. For an undetermined number of years, the boys of Up Neck and Down Neck districts fought for the control of the key point, located on this dividing line. Crossing over this line meant combat. Mud balls, rocks, sticks, and threats were the weapon of combat. Not until the consolidation of the 2 school districts in a hotly contested election in 1907 that cleared up the confusion of identity by merging the 2 school districts into Union Free School District Number 4, when the boys from both districts were represented on our baseball team, did hostilities cease. The population of the school district continued its steady growth from the time the Long Island Railroad extended its tracks to Port Washington in 1898, necessitating the construction of additional school facilities as demonstrated by the building of the first high school in 1909. Brought on by a dramatic leap in population, as well as elevated standards in education, the new school was built for a cost of $75,000 on the site of the 5-acre Webb Farm. Dedicated on September 17, 1909, the Main Street School represented a giant step forward for Port Washington. It was the town's very first high school. In 1929, with the opening of another high school, Main Street became solely an elementary school, and so it remained until 1985, when it was closed. In 1907, Arthur Stillwell was appointed principal at Sands Point Number 2. Stillwell was quick-tempered and soon became involved in discipline problems with pupils. He maintained discipline in the school by means of corporal punishment and physical coercion. The pupils in turn retaliated for their punishment by stoning their principal on his way home after school. Conditions worsened, as did discipline in the school. Mr. Stillwell was asked to resign or face dismissal. At this juncture, Charlotte Merriman, who had returned to the classroom after several years' absence in another school system, was appointed principal of the Sands Point Elementary School to succeed Mr. Stillwell. In 1929, the school was closed and later sold to a developer. However, the natural root steps still climb the hill directly up from Harbor Road. The Sands Point School No. 3 opened after the Christmas vacation in 1929. There were 8 classrooms, 1 kindergarten, 1 cafeteria, and 1 gymnasium. Unfortunately, for that first winter and spring, neither the grounds nor streets had been graded, and there were no sidewalks at its new location on Rockwood Avenue. Nonetheless, despite ruts, mud, and holes, rain, sleet, and snow, everyone survived to enjoy the completion of the building in 1931.
What year was that? I don't. It must be in '29, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. Was it just opened then?
Yes, 29.
Because we just came from Poland to from Philadelphia to Fort Washington, and all my mother did was there was a next door neighbor that was a year older too that used to go, so she just took my hand. She says, "Take my son," and they just put me in kindergarten. Like I said, I went to Daly. My children went to Daly. My son and my daughter. And
my
well,
husband
the only one I do remember, Miss White.
Oh, Miss White, yeah.
Yeah, she was there when my children had it too. What was busing? They didn't have buses. And those 2 foot of snow, the schools never stopped. We walked to school in those days. Now, if it got 4 inches of snow, the school is closed and everything else. I didn't know a word of English when I went to Daly. You didn't garden, you just talk with the kids. Yeah, I don't even know when I started talking English, but I guess when you're playing with kids, you just repeat it and everything else. Because to the day I died, I had to talk Polish to my mother.
And Mr. Daly, I knew Mr. Daly, he was an absolute great person because he took interest in me. He had language problem, language barrier, and he took me in his office and said, bring me a book, one from Poland and Canada, and then he started to put it together to see where I really belonged. And then I remember there was a boy, and he thought it was great fun to say, well, I'll translate.
Oh.
And so what I would tell him, the teacher would look at me, and she would doing things. He wasn't telling her what I said.
Yes, I attended Daly School, as my father did, and his mother. In 1942, I started in kindergarten. My teacher was Miss White. Okay, there was, I would say, about 8 to 10 children at the bus stop. And the buses weren't like the yellow buses now. We used to call it the cheese box. It was like a square. And the school nurse at the time was Annabelle Ford. And the reason I remember her is because my mother gave me her middle name, Annabelle, from this nurse, because she was the nurse at the school with my older brothers and sisters.
Additional elementary classrooms were added to the Sands Point School in 1954. In 1969, the Sands Point School was renamed the John J. Daly Elementary School in honor of the school's first principal. The current principal at that time, Peter Fiella, would later have the school's playing field named after him.
My career at Daly started in 1975 with my children. So I was a parent and I was a PTA president, and then I became a teacher. And then, of course, I luckily got a job at Daly School. When we first did the first special week, we called it International Week because we had, I think, 61 countries represented in ethnic backgrounds, 61 different kinds of people, and that's what makes Daly like a little microcosm of the world, and it's a wonderful thing. What I did for the special week was I would pick 6 songs, and the music teacher used to teach them to the children, and we'd all sing them together. And I sang with them each special week. That's the way we used to start off the fair day. We would all sit down and sing all the songs. And so, you know, I'd use regular songs like modern day songs, and I would change the lyrics. And then I'd forget the real lyrics. So, you know, we used to use them so much. Like we sang Chiquita Banana, you know, for Nutrition Week, and Chiquita Banana, and I'm here to say. We had Donna Summers, you know, in the time of Communication Week. She's on the radio, so it was just perfect, you know. And instead of singing on the radio, we'd sing on the radio, but then I'd say Marconi invented the radio, you know. So it was always fun.
I'd like to thank you for bringing your children to school every day, for getting them ready to learn, and for enhancing their education by supporting our music program. My hat off to each and every one of you.
So here at Daly, all the kids are involved in the music program. Everybody comes to general music once a week. Everyone in 4th and 5th grade sings in the chorus. And of course, the chorus is part of the winter concert and the spring concert. So many colors yet on light. So many stars and yet one night. So many people coming from the gift of earth. So many planets yet one earth. And we prepare together as a grade once a week for that. It's a big deal. We like to make sure that everybody has experience of singing in a group and preparing something as a community of music makers. And some of the kids also take band instruments, and they also perform in the concerts. Some children enjoy playing the string instruments, so they work separately with the string teacher and prepare orchestra music at the concerts.
The Reading Buddy thing just evolved to the play.
They were very key together, how they helped each other in their minds.
And we paired them so that they would be helping each other to learn to read better, and of course to help us get an idea of whether or not we could do that play. And we picked that play because it was Washington Irving, and he's from the Catskills, and it sets in New York State. And we wanted to bring a little American Revolution in there. And we were lucky we got to do it on the new stage, and we were the first people to do it, and that was exciting for us and for the kids.